Welcome back, it's your guy Engineer Mojo. Today we're here with a 2013 Town and Country spark plug change. To get it started off fast, tools you'll need are spark plugs, of course, brand of your choice, socket wrench, 5/16 socket, spark plug socket, small towel, Torx bit, and any tools I add I will be sure to show down below in the video description. This process will be very similar for Dodge Caravans as well, with the same generation. To start it off, just remove the plastic protective cover. This pops on and pops off. With the intake exposed, I'll go step by step of what to remove to get access to the spark plugs. I'll start off with removing the air intake arm. There are 3 items here that you want to remove. There's 2 clamps on either end of the intake arm. These are 5/16 bolts. You just loosen those up. And then you have also 1 sensor that you'll have to pull out and remove. With those items removed, now you just have a center clip that you'll need to remove. Zoom in on it, take a flat head, and you can pop that right off. Next, you can pull out the transition air box. This is held on by 2 little knobs in the back. I'll show you in a minute where those knobs are located on the air box. Here's a close-up shot of the 2 locations where the rubber knobs lock into the airbox. With the transition airbox removed, now you have clear access to the 3 spark plugs on the back of the engine. You'll need to gain access to some bolts behind this water line. So to get this out the way, there's a clip here that you have to pop. Pop that clip with a flathead screwdriver. From there, I'll tuck the water line behind the dipstick. That way it's out of the way, but I don't have to take the water line off completely. Here's a summary of the remainder of the bolts. There's 2 in that location on the water hose. There's a bracket with, I believe, 2 bolts back here. I can't remember, but I'll show you in the video later what's going on back there with that bracket. And then there's a series of Torx bit bolts right on top of the intake runners that you'll need to remove. And I'll show you in the video later how I do that. Here are the last few bolt locations. Trying to show you all of them. Feel free to go back and rewatch that sequence. And also, I'm going to show you a speeded up version right now. Here are the location of the 2 nuts that hold on the intake runner that you'll need to remove. One there tucked behind that bracket. Remove of the first bracket nut here, right behind the intake runner. As promised, here's a sped up version of the removal of the Torx bit screws here that are holding on the intake runner. And I thought I was done taking off nuts and bolts, but there is, like I said earlier in the video, this bracket down here has a couple nuts on it that you'll have to remove. I'm going to show you a close-up of what's going on in there. So I'm taking the camera out, zooming back in, and hopefully you can see where I'm trying to show you. Take my finger, I'm going to move this loom out the way. There's another nut and stud attachment right there on that bracket, that metal black bracket that's to the left of my hand that you'll need to remove. There's a better view of it right there. Let's get in there with a wrench, take that off. Here's what it looks like removed. You can just screw it back in when it's time to put the bracket back on. Here's the black bracket being removed now. Just an L-shaped kind of bracket that's holding on the intake runner to the actual engine block. Here we come to the good part. actually getting access to all the spark plugs. Removing the intake runner, as you see the access holes for the air intake at the engine block. At this point, you want to take a rag or any kind of covering, cover up those intake holes. You don't want to get any farm material in your engine block. That is not a good day. And for those who need it, this is just another quick overview of the spark plug locations. The first top 3, bottom 3. Now you have access to all of them. Remove the felt pad. Get better access to the front spark plugs. Just go ahead and take those off with the socket and socket wrench. It's a pretty easy part right here. Before I completely remove the spark plug, I'll go ahead and just dust off the area. It's a little grimy for this car, so I didn't want any farm materials again falling inside the spark plug tube. The spark plug wiring removed and put to the side. Take the spark plug socket, go gently into the spark plug tube, lefty loosey to remove the existing spark plug. Then with removing the spark plug, I'll take a quick review, make sure there's no kind of oil on there or anything that looks odd with the spark plug. This ensures a healthy engine. New spark plug. Go ahead and put anti-seize on the threads. This is not always needed, depending on what kind of spark plug you get. Some spark plug manufacturers advise not to put anti-seize on their spark plugs, given that it could lead to over torquing of the spark plug. But in this case, it wasn't. I always start these hand tightened. That way it reduces the chance that you cross thread. I advise never tighten these initially with the socket wrench. Always go by hand, again, to avoid cross threading the spark plug. Next, I'll tighten these down. I tighten them down snug tight. The official torque spec is about 12 foot-pounds. In an effort to keep this video from getting too long, I'm going to speed through the process of putting everything back together. And I'm putting on the intake runner. Don't forget the felt pad. Don't forget to replace the water line or the coolant line back in place. Reinstall the dipstick. Here I'm reinstalling the torx bait screws. I'm working in a crisscross pattern. That's just good habit to have whenever you're tightening down any kind of intake or head. Here are the 2 rubber pieces I was mentioning earlier in the video that tap onto the air transition box. Just tap those in, and that way you'll be able to shimmy that back into place. And one of the final steps is to reinstall the airbox line. Screw everything down, tighten that back into place, connect it back to the main airbox. That's all I have for you today. Thanks for watching. If there's any tips from the community to make this easier for myself or other viewers, please let me know down below in the video description. I love to hear about things. Like, share, subscribe, comment. Love to hear everything. And as always, thanks for watching. I like paying forward what I've learned from YouTube.